Raindrops, yes. Now, y'all know it's not every day that I speak to a friend of to the show. That is no shade, no shade, but I have such good rapport with the main cast. And we love the main cast. However.org, I hit up Jacqueline's manager and I said, I want to talk to her. I am a fan. Yes, before y'all read me, I love her too. I do love her.
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome, baby. And I wanted Jacqueline to have the opportunity to have me and the audience get to know her. Because I felt like as a friend of, and I know this producing Housewives for so many years, sometimes the friend of to the show don't get a lot of time to express themselves. So, Jacqueline, this is your reunion, honey. Yeah.
What? Listen, I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna, give it to you all, and of course, give it to you real, because I'm always my authentic self.
And that's
always.
And that's all we can ask for. So, welcome to Reality with the King.
Thank you, Carlos, for having me. I love you, by the way. I love your show. I watch your YouTube videos. Like, literally last night, I was going through them to kind of see how you interview. And I was like, okay, he has a conversation. And I'm like, I really love your personality and how you're very, you can be shady and messy, but you're also very fair. You're very fair. And, you bring a lot of intellect, which we need. But I love how passionate you are about just everything Housewives and, the network, and just it's refreshing. And, your presence is much needed. It is.
Oh, Jacqueline, that is so sweet. No, thank you for that. No, truly, all jokes aside, that means the world to me. It's the reason why I do what I do. It's the reason why, as a Black man in this space, where you don't see a lot of us, I wanted to take my, privilege of producing reality television, having this audience, and to allow people like yourself and other reality stars and just fans of reality too, to use this platform so that the world can get to know them. Because I know that for women of color, it's not a lot of press opportunities for you ladies and for the guys too. And I am an agent of change. And baby, I'm here to shake things up. Period. And thank you. So no.
Period.
We're going to have a good conversation. Yeah. So let's get started. I want the world, and even me, I want to get to know you. So before we get into the Potomac of it all, you are strikingly gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
I mean, wow, you're so pretty. And
thank you.
You have all this personality, and I fell in love with you the moment you came on the screen. And I told Mama Mia, I said, now that is the one that is the future of the show, which we'll get into later. But I said what I said, and I'm not changing it. But where are you from? What do you do for a living?
Absolutely.
Are you married, kids? What's the tea, sis?
Yeah, so I am single and newly single. I'm co-parenting with my ex. I have 2 children, 10 and 3, Ava and Blakely. I'm from a very small town. So me and Mia are from very similar, the same town, basically, like rural South County, Maryland, where I grew up on a 30-acre farm where, I mean, literally there were like 3 Black people in my school. Yeah, so very small town. And near Chesapeake Bay. So, we have that lineage, literally from, plantation workers to farmers to, my dad, getting his education and moving up and things like that, owning real estate. So I come from a family of, we're affluent in land. And just a small town girl who, that's how I met Mia in our town. And I have my own company now, which is Ava and Blakely Enterprises. And it's an HR consulting company. My background is in the federal government. I was federal government for 10 plus years, 401k, all that, pension, all that, secured. Okay. So I'm no dummy. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, so that's where I learned, everything, my tricks of the trade in HR, and decided to open up my own company and do government contracting on my own, from a minority standpoint. And that's what I'm working towards today. I also have a podcast now, which is the Bestie Chat. So I'm pivoting, no negativity, but women's empowerment, building women up, basically coming together, having non-judgmental conversations together collectively, basically chatting and having those juicy conversations, and just shedding light on how important relationships and fellowships are between women, and men, whoever, but just close relationships and how important they are. So I felt like I needed to pivot from kind of the drama that I went through and a lot of people saw, but just letting people know that we're here for each other, self-care, self-help, learning yourself, and guiding each other through the hard times. So that's basically what my podcast is going to be about. And I also have a YouTube channel as well that I created.
All right, girl. You are Jackie of all trades. No, so congratulations on the podcast, the YouTube channel, everything you have going on. It is so dope that you used to work for the federal government. Did you used to work for the federal government, or do you still do?
I used to. So I stepped down because I wanted to kind of understand who I am as a person and kind of be more creative, because the government kind of stifles you, and keeps you kind of in a box. And I felt like I needed to kind of see what else is out there and kind of do my own thing and kind of learn government contracting, business aspect of it, and take my skills that I learned there and kind of do my own thing. Because there's people making millions in it, and there's programs out there for women, and people of color to be able to, do business with the government. So that's what I'm doing now.
Gotcha. Well, that explains why you're good with receipts, because you work for the federal government, honey. So you know how to print and Xerox and fax.
Yes. Yes, I know all about receipts, and I keep every receipt and every email. Okay? I don't delete nothing.
Honey, watch out, Hillary Clinton. We got WikiLeaks over here. No shade, allegedly. I love Hillary Clinton. That was just fun shade. Okay. So you talked about...
That's where I learned everything from. That's where I learned it all from. So, you got to use what you learn and flip it to benefit yourself.
I love a woman who has beauty and brains. So congratulations with that.
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome. You also mentioned, so you and Mia grew up in a small town. How did y'all first meet? Because Mia is a firecracker. And based on what we see on the show, we only know Mia based on what the show either shows us or what she gives to the show. So how old were you when you first met Mia? And what was Mia like as a young girl?
So I was 15. We were both 15 because we're literally a month in age apart. So we're both 38. She was born in November. I was born in December. So same grade. Mia came from Florida, Miami, wherever. And so she came back, in the area where her grandmother lived. And she enrolled in school in 10th grade. And that's where I met her. I actually met her in the auditorium in high school. I was a cheerleader. And everybody was talking like, oh my gosh, there's a girl named Mia that started. She's gorgeous like you, Jacqueline. And it's a very small town and there's not a lot of Black people. And they're like, oh, she's a Black girl. I'm like, what? Who is this? Who's this new girl in town? I need to know who she is so I can recruit her. So I felt like it was an opportunity where I could recruit a pretty girl to be my friend. Does that sound weird? That's a little weird.
No,
yeah.
It's not. Listen,
so I had to figure out who this Mia was and why everybody was talking about how beautiful she was. So the moment that I saw Mia, I was like, okay, yeah, she has to be my friend. And she was a sweetheart. Like, Mia is definitely a person who knows how to wow people. Like, she's very down to earth, despite what you guys see on TV. She's very down. I mean, we're bougie, but she still has that element in her, and just very catering and just a good person. And so at that point, I was like, oh my God, you know, we kind of kicked it off. And from that point on, we were inseparable. We were just like holding hands and hanging out in the lunchroom. And then, you know, I recruited her to cheer with me on the cheerleading squad because I was captain at the time. And then it was all history from there.
I love that story. And it's funny because I feel like that's how we all were in high school. You see somebody and you're like, I'm going to recruit you. So you were on your Regina George.
Yes.
Which
before anybody else recruited her, because I needed her to be my
I love that. And then, so fast forward to you two being grown women. Did Mia approach you to come on the Real Housewives of Potomac? Like, how did your career start with becoming a friend to the show on Potomac? Was it the producers asking Mia to submit people? How did it all come about?
So it's a person that I don't plan to share like the name of, but I think that they kind of saw me on her like page and how we were posting together, and they kind of wanted to know who I was. And Mia would always say, you know, Jacqueline, like when I never thought of myself to be on the show. Like I never necessarily wanted to be on the show. I wanted that for her because I felt like, you know, Mia's the extra one. She's like, you know, she's the one all over the place. And I felt I wanted that for her. And I just wanted to support her. So it was never like me saying I want to be on the show. It was more so people seeing that we were organic friends and then wanting to kind of see that part of her life. Because we hung out like literally every single weekend. We were doing stuff, our kids and her, you know, we were always doing something together. So they were like, oh, we want to see more of her. And you know, I met some of the other girls, like when Mia filmed for the reel. I met Giselle and Robin there. We had dinner that night and we all kicked it off. Like I love Giselle. I really love Robin. And we just had so much in common and it just made sense.
So are you saying that the moment you decided to come on the show, someone who shall remain nameless, you don't have to say this, I'm going to assume that allegedly it was maybe a producer who saw some of the interaction between you?
It wasn't a producer.
Was it a cast member?
It was one of the other castmates that thought that I would be a great fit. So put two and two together here.
Well, listen, I call her Giselle Kobe Bryant, the uncredited executive producer of the show. So I'm going to assume it's Giselle.
Well, it has to be one of two. It was two people there. So you guys can use your imagination. It was one of them. So I'm assuming when they submit names, one of them said, oh, I think that she would be good as a friend, me as friend. And then I was literally blindsided. I was like, what is this? You know, like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't think I'm like, this is weird. And he was like, just go for it to see the opportunity, whatever the case may be. And I interviewed and like, I just prayed about it. And I said, God, this is what you want for me. Let it happen. I wasn't going to like be pressed. And at that point, it just naturally ascended to me filming season 7 as a friend, casted.
So this is interesting. Was there an issue because Mia did not submit you, another housewife did, and was it weird that your best friend did not submit you and you got on the show? Like, was there some weirdness in that?
I don't think so. I think that, you know, season 6, Mia was just getting her feet wet. And I wouldn't expect her to want to bring me on immediately. Like she's still learning her job and understanding it. So I don't think like Mia has always been supportive in whatever I want to do. And if she really didn't want me to do it, she didn't have to, because at that point, I believe that they have a conversation with her to say, do you even want her to be contracted as your friend? And at that point, she said yes. She could have said no. So I don't really think it was weird. I think Mia did very well, you know, and she was more comfortable. Some of the other women even told me Mia was so much more comfortable when you were there because she had a real friend there. And I have always been her biggest cheerleader. And even in the interviews, they were like, you know, I told them how happy and proud I am that she's on the show and that I support her in everything that she does. So I feel like there was good energy and synergy, and she wanted me to be a support in her role. So it was my answer is it was never weird. I feel like, you know, I think it ended up kind of becoming challenging because there were other challenging factors that were going on with her health and things like that.
When did things start to become weird for you? Because obviously, as a producer, we do like to cast real friends because that's when you get the reality of someone's life, right? Um, it was very smart to have you on the show with Mia because Mia came in guns blazing. After I saw Mia her first episode, I tweeted, and I tell the truth. I said Mia is a star, and you guys need to watch out for
She
her.
is.
Right? I saw that immediately. Mia is a star. It was smart of the producers to really take this housewife's advice and say, no, get Jacqueline on the show because this is Mia's friend. Because in my opinion, y'all may like this or not, I believe that Mia is the future of Potomac. And when I say that, what I mean by that is the show is going into its 8th season. Mia is a newbie that has so much potential and promise along with other women.
Yes.
When you came on the show, I was like, yes to this dress and the mess, because I felt that
even with all the drama.
No, I'm gonna be real with you, and my raindrops know this. I care about real friendships because when a housewife or reality star argues with somebody that they don't hang out with in real life, the argument is, to me and to the audience too, it doesn't have any substance. And we like real friendships that are rooted in history. And because Mia, to me, is the future of the show, I would have also brought you on because I would say, let's see if Jacqueline has what it takes to potentially be a housewife. And I'm here to say to you, when you came on and I saw the dynamic between you and Mia, I said, bye, Ashley. You were great. It's Jacqueline's turn to hold the flute.
Oh, no. Yes. I mean, I love Ashley. I think she gives great energy. Yeah, but I mean, to your point, yes, like we are real friends and we have so many layers. And even Karen's told me that. Karen tells me this all the time. I think you're great for the show. She's like, because you and Mia, like you guys have so much history. I mean, they haven't even turned the page. They really haven't. And I feel like it is unfortunate that we had this catastrophic falling out because it's like we could have been great together. Like 100% great.
Well, let's get into that. Where did things go wrong? Because when we watched the show, we saw this friendship and we loved it. And we were rooting for the two of you. Because we are Mama Mia's. That's her fan base. I named her. So I'm gonna name yours too, Jacqueline, when you become a full-time housewife next season. So where did things go wrong between you and Mia?
Honestly, I think about it all the time. And I feel like she just had a lot on her plate, like with the cancer scare, and it was real. It was not made up. A lot of the fans think that she's lying about it. I sat there with her when I heard her talking to doctors and making appointments. It's 100% real. It was not. She did not lie about it. I think she just had a lot on her plate, and as you saw, there were a lot of things that happened, like with Wendy and things like that, where I feel like she was overwhelmed, and it showed. I feel like maybe things got a little too heavy for her, and it ended up spilling out in other areas. So I feel like she just had a lot of personal issues going on. and that she was dealing with, her company, different things where, a little fight that we had ended up becoming a huge fight, and it shouldn't have been that big. And for me, I've even taken responsibility on my own to say, Jacqueline, you could have poured water on that a long time ago. Because when it comes to Mia, like she's, I'm the yang to her yin. Like I'm the peacemaker. I'm the one that's like, Mia, get off the stripper pole. Mia, do the, like you don't have to do that. Mia, I'm the one that can calm her down when she's all this. And at that point, I was kind of like, no, I'm feeling myself, like how she said, you feeling yourself. Because normally I'm the one that's kind of, a little more submissive in our relationship. And I'm the one that's like the reason in our relationship. So I felt like I could have been like, okay, called her, showed up at her house and like, Mia, what are we doing? And we could have been squashed that beef a long time ago. And I feel like it just got really out of control. And then when we had to watch it episode per episode, it was hard to watch and it was hard to deal with. And when we wanted to heal, we weren't able to heal because the whole world was in it.
Was the accusation of you allegedly sleeping with married men the reason why it was hard for you to come back from that?
It was hard for me to come back from it because even still, like she's apologized for that. I feel like that was a little bit much. And regardless of what ended up happening, I've already explained my piece and said what was true, what wasn't. That's not for my best friend to share with a group of women. And she knows that. And if I want to share something, let me share it. Let me be independent. I know you like to be an open book about things. And, let me say things that I want when I want to say it, because this is a new group of women. I don't know them like that, and I feel like it was kind of got out of control, and it really hurt me because it was just like, why are you throwing that accusation out there to the world? And, stop. And that was very hurtful.
I saw the hurt in your eyes. I mean, obviously you cried, and I remember watching it being like, oh my gosh, don't do this. Like, we liked you two as friends. But going back to that, because I want to be able to give you the floor, because I think you're spectacular, and I want the world to truly get to know you. So listen, we're all grown. We've all done things that we regret, right? And one thing I've learned through my years of having female friends is oftentimes some women knowingly or unknowingly is dating a married man, because sometimes these men just lie, claim they're single. So I want you to have the floor to state your own honesty. When it comes to that, were you knowingly dating a married man, or was it unknowingly? And that's why it hurt you that Mia revealed that to a group of girls who at the time you didn't know that well.
Well, I really don't want to dive into this because I said my piece, Carlos, on there. I'm not dating a married man. I'm not. I'm actually dating a man who's single. He's not married. And has there been times that I may have dated a married man? I didn't know he was married? Maybe that happened, but again, that's not something that your best friend should be sharing with people, and I felt like that accusation was very strong, and it was very like demeaning at the time, and it wasn't something for her to share.
No, I respect that, and I agree with you. I agree with you. I think when you guys are real friends, there should be certain things that real friends don't reveal. And I worked on plenty of shows my whole life, and there are just certain things that two friends are like, we're not going to hit below this belt. And I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but seeing your reaction, I did feel like you thought that was below the belt, and that was just a messed up situation, right?
Yeah, and she has since said that she's sorry for that, and that she really wished she did not say that. We talked on the phone a week ago. I've talked to Gordon. We've had a conversation. No, the world doesn't know this, so we talked. And she says she's sorry and she really wants to heal. And I want to heal. And whatever was said on the show whatever. Like, I don't have to make a point or prove anything to anybody at this point, because it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'm not here to fight her or drag her down in the mud or reveal secrets about her in our private. I mean, we've been friends for 20 plus years, and I respect her enough to not want to further that fight. I feel like we both got caught into this hype of proving things to people in the world and fans and things like that, that we should have been better than that. We should have rose above that. You know, because who gives a crap about people that you don't know sitting in their living room watching the show? Like, this is our real friendship that's at stake. And you're never going to have a friendship like this. You will never meet anybody. I will never meet a friend that I will trust like I did with Mia.
Oh, wow. Well, look, it's good to know that.
I mean,
you know, but no, because I get it. Listen, it was even hurtful for me to watch. And listen, everyone knows I love the shade and I love the mess, but I do feel like there's times when things get a little low. So I do agree with you there. But let me ask you this, and then we'll get into the healing and move on from it. At that time, because I'm going to tell you how I felt, but I want you to say how you felt first. At the time you were going through this, in that very moment, that very day that it happened, on the plane, off the plane, having lunch, and then everything after that, did you feel that Mia was changing for the cameras at the time?
at the time, changing as in what? Like being a whole different person?
Changing as is what I call the real life special. And oftentimes people have the courage of the cameras to try to make a moment. And what I've learned through my experience is sometimes people go a little bit too far to make good TV at the expense of a friend. And I'm going to be honest with you.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I do. I feel like she could have scaled back, and she could have just said, you know, I don't want to talk about this, ladies. Like when Giselle kept probing the conversation, me and Jacqueline are going to have a conversation on our own. And I said the same thing, Mia, let's talk on our own. But I feel like she still was stubborn in her own moment, where she wanted to continue it. And that's where I kind of felt like she was making me her storyline at the cost of my life. And that was hurtful for me, because I'm like, this is my real life, Mia, that you're affecting. So don't make me be a cost of that. And, you know, this happened 8 months ago. This happened, and what people think it just happened yesterday. This was 8 months ago. And I'm sure she's in a better place now. And when I talked to her, she said she's in a peaceful place. And, you know, she was wrong. And all I could do is accept that and say, you know, you were. I can't, I'm not walking in her shoes every day. So I don't really know what she's going through.
You mentioned earlier that since the taping of the reunion, that you, Mia, and Gordon have since spoken. Who initiated that conversation, and how was it?
She initiated a conversation. She texted me and said, I'm sorry, I don't think we will ever be okay. And I'm sorry that I hurt you. And she texted me, actually, I was on set working on my podcast trailer. And I was like, it's weird, because it was happening when all these good things are happening. And I'm like, and I had just unblocked her, because if she had contacted me prior to this, I would have never known. So I don't know if this is the first time she reached out to me, but I had just unblocked her, because I was at a point in my life where I was like, you know what? If she has something to say, let me hear her out. And at that point, I responded back to her. I don't know if you want me to pull up the text and like actually read off what I said. But I told her, I said, I basically said, I appreciate your apology. I needed that to help me in my healing journey. However, I really wish you would have talked to me off camera months ago for it to really feel sincere. And I told her, I said, I take full responsibility as far as the way that I could have handled things differently, knowing that maybe you're not in a good place right now and you're going through a lot. And I think once I realized that, Mia had a cancer scare, Mia had a lot of things going on in her personal life and, as came out with her company. And I feel like a lot of things that she was doing was because she had a lot going on. And for me to continue trying to fight back to somebody who clearly is not in a good place was wrong in my behalf.
Yeah, and I'm really am happy that you two have since reconciled. That really makes me happy. Because I do feel like you can't throw away a 20 plus year friendship over someone, I'm just gonna say it, throwing shade at the expense of, in my opinion, allegedly making good TV. And I did feel like you were at the receiving end of that, and I felt bad for you. And in my opinion, you don't have to, agree or disagree. In my opinion, I felt that Mia got caught up in the lights, camera, action of it all, and was hurt, like you said, and was dealing with a lot, like you said. But I'm happy to hear that you two have since reconciled. One of the things that came out after the reunion were these alleged leaked text messages, right?
Carlos.
No, in terms of, I want you to be able to just, because I want you to move on from this, because I want you to hold the champagne flute. So I want you to move on from it so it doesn't become a storyline next season, child. So this is your opportunity to just, and I'm not going to ask about the specifics of it, right? When you saw those, that's what I'm saying alleged, because I don't know if it's true or not. Listen, you work for the government, I don't, child, so I don't have a magnifying glass and forensic files, honey. But when those texts were allegedly released, that allegedly were a correspondence between you and Mia, saying things like, "Oh, this is confirmation she was with a married man." What do you want to say about that to the audience in terms of, do you think Mia was behind it? Did y'all talk about that in your reconciliation that you guys had recently? Or is that something that you think other people had an involvement in?
I don't necessarily think she was behind it. I think that maybe she had to submit the messages. I don't know. I didn't really go into that with her. Because at that point, I didn't really care about it anymore because I moved past it. But whatever it was, I don't know. I don't really know who was behind it or whatever. I'm sure somebody was. I don't know.
When all of that came out, again, because you're a mom with two kids, and we know kids sometimes are able to be on social media. And this is a deeper conversation that I just want the world to know, that obviously kids have access to Google and stuff like that. When all of that was out, as a mom, did it break your heart that, listen, maybe at one point in time, your kids may have to read this? And
it did. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. It did. Because I felt like, how far are you going to go? And at this point, it's starting to look very evil. Because you're making other people a part of it that have nothing to do with anything. And they don't deserve that, and she said she was sorry for it. I don't know the timeline of when those were submitted or whatever. But it was hard because I never thought she would go that far. I never thought I wouldn't go. I'm not going to go that far. Like, I have messages from me about tons of stuff. Would I go that far? I'm not. I mean, I have a sense of morality and integrity that I don't care about making good TV that much. I don't. And I don't care to prove my point that much. Like, if people want to believe that, let them believe it. I know who I am. I know who I'm not. So I'm at that point where I want to move on from it. And I know, I'm not dating a married man. I'm dating somebody who's single. You know, I would never date a married man in the future. I'm not sleeping with a married man. I'm not doing any of that. I know that. I know that. I don't need to prove that to anybody.
No, thank you for clearing that up, Jacqueline, because again, I really wanted to give you the floor to have the opportunity to express yourself unedited. Because when you were at the reunion, child, me and the audience was like, we like Jacqueline. Y'all only gave her 2 minutes, like that colorism conversation. And I'm like, child, y'all could have Zoomed Miss Jacqueline, FaceTimed her. I didn't feel like you had the floor to really allow the audience and me to get to know you. Did you feel that same way watching it back? Like, damn.
Yeah, but I think they probably only have a certain amount of minutes they can use. Because when I look at some of these blogs where they talk about like the minutes and like Sharice's minutes compared to my minutes, they only have a certain amount of minutes they want to use for a friend. And it becomes a numbers game. Like there's science behind it. So I feel like, you know, a percentage here, you know, they calculate all that stuff. And of course, the housewives are going to get the full shine. And I'm not a housewife. So they don't want to give me 20% of the floor when a friend would only get maybe 10%.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you this though, sis. As somebody who creates shows and watches it back, I will say this. You, of all people, were the only friend in history of Potomac that deserved at least 20 minutes. Okay. Because on my other shows, child, we got friends up that I get more camera time to than the main cast, honey, because it's all about who brought the story, child. So listen, that's you ain't gotta say anything, honey. That's coming from my mouth to your earlobes, honey. And my raindrops know, child, on Love and Marriage Huntsville, I got this main cast member called Tisha. Her cousin Kiki had more airtime than some main cast, honey. Because I am all about making sure the main story.
Not Kiki. Oh my God.
Yes, honey, Miss Kiki, honey. So I wanted Miss Jacqueline.
But I feel like we could have rocked it. Like it could have been, I mean, I said a lot up there. Again, right. But I didn't want to go low. I was just trying to defend myself at that point. That's what I was trying to do. I was just like, what's going on here? And I feel like at that point, Mia was ready to let it go too.
Yeah.
And she was just like, whatever, Jacqueline, you can have it. Like, what are we trying to prove to people? What are we doing here? We are best friends. None of these women are your real friends. They're not. Carlos, who back there?
Oh!
But it's the truth.
I agree with you.
It's the truth. And so that's what I just didn't understand. Like here you have a really good friend that will ride for you. Like when I tell you I adored Mia, like I loved her. Like you couldn't tell me shit about that woman. Like don't talk about Mia, nothing. Like I was her ride or die. I'm like, you know, we robbing a bank together. I'm in the getaway car. Like we going down together, you know, like ride or die. That's my girl. So it's like, what are you doing? And that's when I really peeled back the layers of this, I was like, I really realized that there's something else going on beyond me. And it wasn't really me, it's something else. And I would like to get to the bottom of that.
No,
You know,
I
like
would
what's
too.
really going on, babe? Like, yeah, like what's going on? Like, why do you want to hurt me? Like, is there something I ever did to you? Like, no, I don't know. Yeah, it was hurtful. And I don't know if you saw it, like I created a video and everything where I was like talking about like what happened to our friendship. It was like what happened, you know? And I had to take ownership. Up. I didn't have to continue with it. Like if you're fighting and you're, you know, like somebody wants to fight in the mud and they want to scrap with you, you don't have to fight back because you're gonna end up in the mud right with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like wearing white. I like white clothes. I don't want to be in the mud. I don't want to be in the mud. So at some point, I should have been like, Mia, what is going on? You know, come on, we're not going there. Like, we're not doing that. And I should have done, I don't know. I shouldn't have continued to go back and forth with her. That was my fault.
No, I get that. And thank you for your ownership in that too. But I can tell you, as somebody who's been producing TV for 15 years, I can tell you what happens. It's the cameras. And I'm not speaking for you. I'm going to tell you from my vantage point because I've seen it happen before. It's one thing if you embarrass me at Houston's on Peachtree Street and we're in the booth together and it's just you and I, right? It's another thing when you're embarrassing me and I see all these cameras around me and I see these red lights seeing that it's being recorded. And in my mind, I'm like, the entire world now knows about this. And now I have no choice but to defend myself and go back and forth. And again, I'm not blaming that to be the case, but I'm just saying I understand why sometimes people feel like we went too far because why did we have to go there? I have learned that sometimes it's because, like you said, it's not just a one-on-one. It's a 1 on 2 million of people watching.
Right.
And you feel the need to defend yourself because you don't know how this is going to be sliced or diced. And that's why me and my raindrops and the Mamma Mias, and I'm going to come up with your fan base before I leave, child. But
can we do the besties?
No. No, I'm going to come up with it. I think I may have it, and I'm going to surprise you with it. Okay? But before the season has ended, it's been a very draining season for everybody involved.
Whew.
Right? It's been very heavy.
Heavy. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not going to disclose who I've spoken to since then. What I will say is I know that there's more than half of the cast who aren't in a good space right now. Okay. But I would like to ask you, since y'all two have spoken, how is Mia doing right now?
Honestly, I don't know. We spoke that one day and she told me that she's in a good place and that she's healing and she's in a peaceful place. And so I want her to stay in that peaceful place. Regardless of what happens to me, if I'm on the show or not, I want her to continue and I want her to realize and I want her to know that she has to focus on her mission. What do you do? Why are you doing this? What is your why? And Mia actually came to me and asked me, should she do this show? I was the one who was telling her she should do it because this could be a platform to help other women that are going through, who have lived her life and have been through the things she's been through. So turn whatever it is into a positive and give back. And that's what I really want to see, and if there's issues going on, talk about those issues. If there's things where you need therapy or, guidance and things like that, mental health is your wealth. And these are topics that a lot of times us, especially as Black women, don't want to talk about. But, talk about these things because these are real things that people go through. And I want her to be in a better space. And I wish that for her, regardless of what we went through. I want her to be in a better space for her kids, for, other people coming up that look up to her. Remember, there are people that are looking up to you. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect, but remember there's a reason why God has placed you into these spaces. Don't forget that. I don't want to act like I'm a Bible thumper, but But, I believe in God. I do. I believe there's a higher power and there's a reason why you come into these situations,
No, I know. Listen, I am a self-appointed and admitted Bible thumper. So I am all about it, baby. I'm all about it. And listen, I know for a fact that a lot of people are going to walk away from this interview knowing you from a deeper way because your spirit is very... I have discernment. You have a very good spirit. And
thank you, Carlos.
No, you really do. And that's why I don't talk to friends of like that. But I wanted to.
Okay.
But there's something there's something special about you.
Thank you, Carlos.
And I know that people are going to walk away from this interview knowing you from a deeper level. You're so sweet. You're very spiritual. And I mean, you've also shown us that you're able to forgive, because who would have thought that after you and Candace had that interaction, calling each other B words, that you were at her house for a holiday party, and now y'all two are friends. So
meeting her mama and everything.
How did that happen, Jacqueline?
Her mama loves me. Dorothy loves me.
I love Mama Dorothy, honey. That's a star too. But how did that happen?
She is. I wasn't ready for her questions. I was like, okay. She wouldn't know where I live, what all this other stuff. I was like, okay, and what you okay. I'm like, all right. Yeah, she is on point. And I love her mother. I love Candace. Candace gives me life. She's a sad, she's fun, she has great energy. And I really wish I could have seen that. I think what it was is that because me and her had this drama, I immediately was like, who is this B? And, I didn't give her the opportunity. And I don't think she was receiving of me as well, because a lot of the ladies felt like I was coming in too hot. I don't think I came in hot at all.
I'm going to tell you what it was, Jacqueline.
But no, Carlos, let me tell you.
Go ahead.
They edited a lot of some things. So maybe, I mean, I don't know. They were like, oh, she's too much. Like, what's going on?
No, I'm gonna tell you what allegedly it could have been.
Should I be saying allegedly too? Allegedly, because I'm afraid that I might get into something.
No, you good. Listen, ain't no Michael Darby mess going on over here, child. You good. Exactly.
I don't want those problems.
No, what's interesting is, and listen, I'll say it. When a friend of comes on the show, sometimes the main cast feels threatened by new energy.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
They feel like, is she there to replace me? And sometimes they feel the need to haze. And when I say to you, I've seen it happen on multiple shows I produced, to where I'm not gonna name names, but I've seen main cast members run off friends from the show. Like, run them off.
Like, they were scared after.
I'm like, hey, so we're gonna bring this person on. Let's see y'all, like, whatever. And that woman left and said, Carlos, I'm good. This
ain't for me. This ain't for me. I don't want these problems.
No.
I don't want these problems.
No. So I sometimes feel like that happens. That may have happened in your experience, allegedly. So I'm just saying, I would not be surprised, because you're beautiful.
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome. You have great energy. And that's the reason why my girl Candace, who I love too, that's why she's like, okay, we're good. Like, I like you. And she was able to invite you to her home. So outside of Candace.
Yeah, because I think at that point she felt sorry for me. Because she was like, what the heck is going on with you and your best friend?
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of Candace, are you friends with any of the current main cast members?
Yes. So I would have to say who I talk to on the regular and hang out with is Karen. Sharice, we talk on the phone a lot. And Candace. Candace texts me, it's always some drama happening or something she saw somewhere, and she'll send it to me and I'll say whatever. We do our little comments and that's it. But yeah, we've hung out, I would say those main three. Robin, I love her. I haven't really reached out to her much because, that's Giselle's close friend. So, and I feel like she's still a little guarded, and she's kind of on the Mia team now. So I think they're just, but I really feel like all the ladies liked me. Like, they liked me, like they did. They're just trying to figure out what is going on. They're just taking a step back. It was a lot for all of them.
Speaking of Robin, obviously news came out that allegedly Juan got fired from his job due to this whole scandal that's been happening.
I saw that.
Do you know how she's doing or anything like that?
I don't talk to Robin on that, like, an intimate level. Like, I message her in her stories and stuff like that, but I don't send her like direct messages. I don't know how she's doing. I should check on her.
if you do check on her, tell her I said hi.
Okay.
And that we want to make sure that
I'm sure she'll see this.
Hey, Robin.
I'm sure she'll see this. Hi, Robin. I love you, Robin.
We love you, Robin.
I like whatever's going on. No, whatever's going on with Robin, I am 100% praying for her. I'm praying for her and her family.
Amen.
I don't wish that on nobody.
No,
I don't.
no.
And I don't know how true that is or not. No.
Yeah, me neither. And listen, we don't wish bad on anybody. That's not what this podcast is about, which is why a lot of people love coming on it, because it's not ill will. We don't wish bad on people. I know there's certain people making jokes about that. I choose not to go that route in terms of making fun of a serious situation that has ramifications. So to your point, we're praying we're praying for all parties involved so that that can be resolved on its own.
Yes.
Would you like to return to Potomac next season? And if so, would you like to return as a full-time housewife?
That's a loaded question, Carlos. I feel like, yes, I would be open to it, of course, as a full-time, even as a friend. I feel like I'm more than a friend. I do. I have a lot to offer. But I mean, I'm not, definitely would want to be in a better space with Mia, because I don't want it to carry on like it did last season.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that either. No. Listen, one thing I know is that the housewives watch my YouTube interviews and I know. I know. I know, child. I'll be like,
listen, I'm only subscribed to like 4 channels, and you're one of them. I'm like,
thank you,
I'm
baby.
getting the notifications like Carlos the King, this person. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like, to the point where people are like, what is going on? You are obsessed.
That makes me happy. Oh, thank you, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
That means the world to me.
But no, I know they watch it because and I've seen Mia message in there in your chat talking about I be lying.
We love Mia be lying, but listen.
Mia is so messy.
Listen, I don't care if people get upset by me saying this. It's the truth. I love me some Mia. And I love a reality star who's able to see the joke in it and the fun in it. And I'm never going to be here to disrespect anybody, right? We are here to have fun. Me saying, instead of Michael B. Jordan, Mia be lying. And she's able to take that as fun shade. And one thing Mia said to me that I appreciate, she said, the fact that you talk about me means a lot to me, because I know what that does for my career.
Absolutely. Mia's great TV.
She's fantastic television. You are fantastic television. Because I know the housewives watch it and the producers, I am going to use this interview to speak to them directly, okay? And you don't have to say anything, Jacqueline. I'm going to say everything, okay? Okay. So listen here, producers and housewives. Carlos Reginald King I is advocating for Jacqueline to be a main cast next season. The reason why Potomac is in this dire situation is because it's missing real friendships. And what Mia and Jacqueline brought to this past season is everything that's been missing for the show from the beginning. We like real friendships. We like real history. It's the reason why we enjoy Alexia and Marisol on Miami Housewives. It's the reason why we enjoyed Teresa Giudice and her girlfriend and my love, Jacqueline Larita. We like real friendships. Potomac, yes, they have Giselle and Robin, but Giselle and Robin will never call each other out on how they feel about each other in the moment. And listen, that's fine. It is what it is. But what Mia and Jacqueline gave us this past season is what's been missing. And I have said in my recaps, I wish this season focused more on Mia and Jacqueline's friendship, and that the ladies themselves could have focused on trying to reconcile that, because I think this season could have been better. because Mia and Jacqueline, to
Right.
me,
And that's my question to me too, Carlos. Why didn't anybody want to step in and say, why are you guys fighting?
because they were too busy trying to accuse people of sleeping around and accusing husbands of stuff, allegedly.
That's dangerous. And see, that's my thing. Like, I don't want to hit danger zones. We can be fun, we can be cute. I feel like Potomac should keep it cute. We don't want to get down into the ratchet. Like, I don't know. That's not what I live for. And I don't thrive off of trying to disintegrate people and their real livelihoods. Like, don't touch people's livelihoods. Like, you can talk about other stuff, talk about, whatever, but just not people's livelihoods.
I could not agree more. And we in the audience didn't like seeing it. So we're hoping for a better season, especially if you're on it, because that's what we want to see. So before I let you go, Jacqueline, is there anything you want to get off your chest? Because this is Real Housewives of Potomac season 7, Carlos King, Jacqueline reunion, and you now have
no
the floor.
Pressure.
You now have the floor to say whatever you may have said at the reunion that wasn't shown, or you may have wanted to say it in hindsight. So I'm giving you the floor.
Yeah, so I want to clear the air that I am broke, my house is in foreclosure. I am not any of those things. And if I was, I would not be afraid to share that because women and people go through real things, especially after COVID. I definitely want to shed light, to my podcast, bringing women together, fellowships, basically counteracting all this like jealousy and hate that a lot of times women have towards each other and feel like they need to compete. Like, these are the things that I want to put forward about myself. Like, this is what I believe in, and this is what I stand by. And all the other things like the deodorant, like stupid things like that. Like, I had my deodorant, it was in my other luggage where I couldn't find it. But I'm a well-to-do, successful woman, like in the DMV area. I'm educated, all that good stuff. I don't live in a trailer park. I don't know what things people were saying. And there's nothing wrong with it if I did, because if I lived in a trailer park and I'm here now, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one to put people down. Like, I feel like that was not expressed. I feel like I looked as if I was like Mia's representative. No, I was supporting Mia as a friend. That was my role, and that's what I do for my friends. I support them and they support me in things that I have going on. So yeah, none of that was true. I want to put that out there. Like, that's not what's happening at all. I'm a mother of 2. I'm co-parenting with their dad. Outside of what they saw in this video, that was a 6-year-old thing that happened a long time ago, and we've moved past that. I'm definitely moving past toxic relationships, and I'm open to sharing that as well, because there are women that are dealing with toxic relationships and have been there. So I feel like there's a lot that I can share that has not been shared about my life, and things that I've been through that have actually elevated me in my life now, that I've learned from. So yeah, don't always listen to these things. Sometimes it's fake news, but regardless if people believe it or not, I don't care, because I know who I am. Okay.
Yeah.
That part. I don't got to prove to nobody. Okay.
I know, a child. Now you speaking my language. But before I let you go, if you are a full-time housewife, are we gonna see your new man?
My new man? I don't know, because we're still dating, and it's not like official. Like, it's not like somebody I want to post on IG. But yeah, dates and things like that. I think we're kind of getting to that point. But possibly.
And does he walk the streets of Georgetown?
Oh, no, I don't want those problems. No, 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 no. He is not somebody else's man. Mm-mm. And I don't believe that anyway. Okay, I've told Karen that. I don't believe that. Ain't nobody in Georgetown walking holding hands. If you're doing some dirt, you are not out in the public, okay?
Not at
What
all.
is happening? No.
Yes. Well, listen here, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for appearing on Reality with the
Thank
King.
you, Carlos.
It's long overdue. I've been wanting to talk to you for months. I'm a big supporter of yours. Yes, I listen.
Thank you for supporting me. I was so shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, Carlos is
Yeah, no, I listen. And one thing about my raindrops, they know they're like, because again, I love Ashley, but I think Ashley has run its course, and I think Ashley should be a friend of. But it doesn't mean that I don't like her. I have said this on my podcast numerous times. I want to see Jacqueline in the main seat because we are missing real friendships. And as the way it's going now with this cast, it's just missing real friendships. So I'm wishing the best for you. You are a star.
Thank you, Carlos.
You really are. You are a beautiful woman. You're funny. You could be a little shady and messy, as we know. You know how to print out documents, notarize it, go to Kinko's and slide your card in and like
put it in a folder.
Okay, put it in a folder. Manila envelope.
I was gonna come
honey.
out with something elaborate, by the way, and I was actually told not to do that.
Because they didn't want you to upstage the housewives. Continue.
All right. Well, they're like, no, this is not going to be. And then I didn't want to create that for my best friend. Again, I didn't. Yeah. I really didn't want to do any of that.
No, and stop it, Mia. Mia, I know you're watching. Mia and Jacqueline, stop. I don't want to see. Don't go below the belt. No, stop. I want to be done with that. We want to see y'all reconcile. We want to see y'all become friends. And my last question is this. What would you like to see from you and Mia? Because as of right now, you guys had that one conversation. She apologized to you. You apologized to her. It seems like you guys aren't on speaking terms only because you're allowing each other to heal. So what would you like to see based on your friendship? Is it something to where you want to show the audience how to get back to that place of being besties of more than 2 decades?
Right. I think we would just have to have a really honest, real conversation with each other and maybe bring in a therapist to kind of get to the root of what's happening or what happened and kind of dig deep into that, because this was very hurtful. So I feel like a conversation won't heal that. There's trust that's been lost. There has been, pain. I mean, so many things have happened that there would have to be some extensive therapy and prayer to really get to a point where I can say, okay, I can trust you again and believe that you have my best interest in heart, regardless of the show or regardless of whatever. That should never trump what we have. That's what I would want to know. How important is our relationship? And, are you willing to do the work to get to that point? I'm not sure if that's where she is. I mean, I'm open to it because I would like to know, and maybe we'll come out of it saying, okay, no, this isn't fixable. Or maybe we'll come out as, okay, this is fixable. This is really why this happened. And this is what you guys need to work on to have a better relationship from a professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that sound crazy?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I want that to happen. And just so you know, we at Reality with the King and my raindrops, because I know my peeps, we're all rooting for you and Mia to make up. That is what we want to see. That's what I would love to see happen. And it was sad in me that a 20-year plus friendship can end over a couple of minutes on a TV show. That would just be super unfortunate. So yeah, I'm wishing the best. I agree. I'm wishing the best for the two of you. So Jacqueline, where can people find you, follow you, support you, your new podcast, and every other thing you have going on?
Okay, so my Instagram page is the Jacqueline Blake. My YouTube is, you can search it, Jacqueline Blake, the Bestie Chat. And my podcast is the Bestie Chat. So it's on Spotify now. I'm working on getting on Apple. And I just dropped my new trailer. Episode 1 is coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. And everything is going to be like literally like visuals and, listening as well. So you can pull it up on Spotify and also look at it visually on YouTube. So if you could just go on my YouTube page and subscribe and watch. I mean, it's still in the beginning stages, so don't be too analytical, but just get up on there. See what I'm about. Because I'm going to show myself more in that. I like to talk. I like to fellowship. And it's going to be a whole vibe, like drinking our wine and our PJs, hanging out, talking about real life-ish, that us as women and men go through. It's not going to be just catered to women. It'll be catered to men as well. So I want you guys to kind of tune in and see that as well.
Yeah. So now I got the name of your fan base because it caters to men and women. You ready for it?
Oh, okay.
Sis, your name is Jacqueline, right? Jacqueline. We're going to call ourselves the Jacks and Jills. Yeah.
What? The Jackson Jill?
Yeah.
How do you spell that, Carlos?
Jacqueus and Jills. It's the Jackson Jills. Jacqueline Blake is the Jackson Jills child. It's for the men and the women. So
Jackson Jill? Oh, Carlos. That's like a foundation. Jack and Jill?
Oh, right. I forgot about that. That's a Black organ. Okay, never mind. Okay, you're right. You see, this is why I love this show, because you see things happen in real time. All right. So we'll put a placeholder on that.
Let's do a placeholder, and I want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear one.
We'll do a placeholder, and when you come back on Potomac next season, I'll have it ready for you.
Okay. Yay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Love you, baby. That was good.
Love you.